street. It's a phenomena where people that are held captive against the wheel start to show feelings of compassion and empathy to their captors. Coined here on this square, August 23, 1973, from probably the world's stupidest, most bizarrest bank robbery that ever took place. More specifically, took place inside that building there. Now, I had eyes, they weren't. I can tell this fashion store and the Lebanese restaurant next to it, it's not a bank. It used to be a gigantic bank. That is before the Danish bank came on this square. But August 23, 1973, a Swedish bank robber walked across the square in broad daylight towards the bank, holding in his hand a submachine gun. That is a very excessive way to rob Swedish people. Traditionally, they don't like confrontation. You don't need a semi-automatic weapon. You just need stern words. Give me all your money. They go, here you go, take it. Anyway, he thought a submachine gun would do the trick, and the bank was crowded with customers. And he tried to disguise himself. These are his words, not mine, okay? But he tried to disguise himself as an American tourist. He did this by saying in English, in 1973, the party is about to begin. He then fired his submachine gun into the ceiling. I've been to a lot of crazy parties in my life. I've never seen any party start like that, and I don't think you have either. You can imagine, if we were customers in the bank, we would freak out. That is exactly what happened. The customers left the bank. Inside were 4 bank tellers, 3 female, 1 male. They pressed a silent alarm. That went out to the Stockholm Police Department. 2 police officers walking past heard the call on the radio. They went in to investigate. They startled the guy with the submachine gun. He instinctively oh, sorry mate, bang. You should have stood over there. That's all right. He shot the first police officer. You survived. He got shot in the hand. The second police officer, he says you pick one song. Any song you want, but you sit on the chair, you sing it. When you finish it, just keep repeating the same song over and over and over again. The song was Lonesome Cowboy by Elvis, if you care. It's strange, it's weird, it gets weirder. These 2 called for backup. Very quickly, this square was cordoned off with Stockholm's finest police officers. It also attracted a large media contingent as well. This stuff was unheard of in Sweden of the time. For the police officers, they stationed snipers on the roofs. On this roof here, there was, not now, but there was a police sniper looking down the barrel of his gun. He is hoping to shoot the suspect when the suspect left the bank. Next to him is a news cameraman looking down the lens of his camera, also hoping to shoot the suspect. Different lexical meanings of that word shoot, but you can see them working side by side, together as one, trying to achieve the same objective. And this is probably the most useless piece of trivia I'll tell you on this whole entire tour. This was the first time in Swedish television history a crime was broadcast live into Swedish TV. In 1973, we had 2 TV channels. We had Channel 1 and we had Channel 2. Channel 1 was showing the Stockholm Syndrome non-stop, ad-free for 6 days. Channel 2 was showing other stuff. This was obviously the ratings winner for that 1 week. But our bank robber friend was trapped inside. He thought about Act 1, Act 2 of the bank robbery. What about Act 3, the Great Escape? Then a negotiation process took place. Normally, I like reading about these negotiation processes. They are always unrealistic, whether it be real life or in a Hollywood script. The very first demand our bank robber friend asked the police for was, can I have a helicopter? I've said this story hundreds of times. I'm still laughing inside. I think it's funny. What's he going to do? He's going to walk out of here, sack full of cash, sit down on the park bench, figure out in 10 minutes how to fly a helicopter. It'd be funny if those guys actually are trying to figure out that, but I doubt it. The police said no to the helicopter. His second demand was a more realistic, fast car. I like to think he asked for a Volvo so he could drive away safely from the bank robbery, but the police said no to that. But I admire people that have persistence. I admire people that think outside that proverbial square. Our bank robber friend, he had a friend himself in jail for armed robbery. This guy was not a very good armed robber. He'd been caught. Nevertheless, it was someone that he knew with an experience very similar to what he found himself in. So he asked the police, can my friend join me from prison here inside the bank? For some stupid, unknown reason, the police actually agreed to this request. You're my bank robber, okay? There we go. We've got matching beards and I've got those sunglasses in here as well, so you won't even be able to tell us apart. Anyway, so you're in jail for armed robbery. The police pick you up. You're thinking, sweet freedom. Not so fast. They drove him 30 kilometres across town, back to another ongoing bank robbery, put him in there and closed the door behind them. This siege lasted for 6 whole days. I just told you that most of Stockholm's media was waiting here on this square. When the dust had settled, the police chief walked across. Maybe that's a helicopter. You're late. Anyway, when the dust had settled, the police chief walked across the square to the waiting media. Does anybody have any questions? Question 1 of this impromptu press conference, translated from Swedish to English, quote, "Why did you double the amount of bank robbers from 1 to 2 at the start?" Brilliant. Someone should have warned the police chief. They're probably going to ask that question. Think of something smart to say. He didn't. He just made it up on the spot. I don't know. We thought it'd be a good idea to have a mediator between us and the bank robber. Who was in charge of hiring this police negotiation team? What's your name? My name's Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Can you negotiate? No, not at all. Well, welcome aboard. The job's yours. So at this stage, we've got 2 confused bank robbers. One's confused thinking he's got freedom. The other one's confused starting parties with submachine guns. 2 police officers. You have a sore hand. You probably have a sore voice. 4 staff members that work for the bank quite scared. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Right. So the bank robbers, they take the hostages, they move to the bank vault. In 1973, if you're to rob a bank in Sweden, look for the cash inside the bank vault. Don't rob a bank in Sweden today. It's Saturday, they're closed, and even if they were open, they're cashless. I don't understand that second point. No, it's bank robbers. Took the hostages down to the bank vault. The police officer, singing songs on the chair, gets up, closes the vault door, locks it behind him. Now, if we're robbing banks together, going stupid us, why didn't we tie these 2 guys down? But the police, they made their second and most critical mistake. They needed to get some eyes inside that bank vault. Now, they did this by grabbing a very large, powerful drill. They started to drill through the thick vault door. Over the sound of the drilling, they suggested to each other, let's put sleeping gas through these holes. Everyone can pass out, fall asleep. We can solve this situation. Nobody else needs to get hurt. The bank robbers heard the police's grand plan. Again, they thought outside that proverbial square. For some reason, there was a coil of metal wire in the corner of the bank vault. They grabbed the metal wire, they tied it around the necks of the hostages, tied that to the top of safety deposit boxes. They yelled back through the holes, if you put gas through here, the metal wire would act like a noose. It is you that are murderers, not us. Here is arguably the most iconic photograph captured in Stockholm in all of the 20th century. Can you see that at the back? Yes, okay. Here you can see this scene. The guy with the beard is the original bank robber. He's photobombing his own bank robbery before photobombing was a trend on Twitter. Clearly, at first glance, you can see 3 out of 4 of the hostages. All 4 are there. You have to be a little bit clear. You can see the grainy metal wire. As I said, this is arguably the most iconic photograph captured in Stockholm in all of the 20th century. But this is also the point in time when things got really, really strange. This was the point in time when these hostages started to show feelings of compassion and empathy to their captors. So much so, they feared for the safety of the bank robbers. They thought the police were going to shoot them on the spot when they left the bank. So, they tried to negotiate the safety and the freedom of the bank robbers. Who would you do that with? If the police department is incompetent at negotiation, you call up the Prime Minister of Sweden, of course, don't you? The Prime Minister of the day, his name was Olof Palme. This lady, she hasn't moved, front and centre, got a phone line out to the Prime Minister. Now, if you don't believe me, the phone call was recorded. You can actually access it from your smartphone. It's on the National Archives, but it's all in Swedish. So the only phrase you're going to understand is probably "hey, hey," or something like that. I've got no idea. Obviously, from Denmark, you'll understand a lot more. But the phone call translated from Swedish to English goes something like this. Olaf, you're playing checkers with our lives. These guys have been kind, calm, considerate. They've done us no harm. We're more fearful for the police. Set the bank robbers free. This is the Swedish definition of kind, calm, considerate, doing you no harm. Your neck is wrapped in metal wire. You're in a small enclosed room. There's high probability that gas goes into that room. When that happens, you're going to die. Where I come from, where we all come from, that is not kind, calm, or considerate. But Swedish people, they're a bit strange, but they always find good in someone until it's a little bit too late. Anyway, the Prime Minister told this lady they are criminals. They'll be lucky to exit the bank alive. During day 6, the bank robbers realised they're getting nowhere. They released all the hostages. One of the female hostages went downstairs to use the toilet. You can imagine after 6 days, you really, really had to go. The police said to her, "You can come with me now." She said, quote, "I'm not leaving my friends behind." In fact, she turned around, she put herself back in the same hostage situation she was just released from. This is awesome. This proves that every single person here, no matter what you do to Swedish people, in times of emergency, they will always, always put you first and then a very distant second. Unfortunately, this city had to witness that firsthand last year, April 7. A truck drove into a bunch of people, terror attack in the city. All of Stockholm came down to a standstill. I live 100 kilometres away. I couldn't get home. My wife had to come and pick me up. But a lot of people were stuck here in Stockholm. But then we saw the true heart of Stockholm has come through. I said before, a couple of minutes to 10, I think cities are built on people, and this is a prime example. Random strangers were going on social media using the hashtag OpenStockholm. If you're stuck, if you need somewhere to stay for the night, here's my address, here's the code to my apartment, you're more than welcome to come spend the night with us. So I think that's awesome, shows how awesome Swedish people are. The people that did take them up, no one spoke to each other, but at least they got helped out for like 24 hours, pretty cool. But anyway, a few hours after this, the police did something they probably should have done during day one. They realised they're getting nowhere. Let's just break down the vault door and arrest the two suspects. Standing in the way between the police and the bank robbers were the four hostages acting as human shields on their own accord. The police had not seen this before. They thought all 6 people were collusive. That means were they in on it together? They were not, but they were individually interrogated, strip searched. Not one Swedish banknote was found on them. I've never robbed a bank in my life, but I'm pretty sure the objective function for robbing a bank is to leave the premises with some sort of cash. 6 days they are there, all the cash in the world. If you know you're going to spend 20 to 25 years in prison, at least take 20 crowns, put it in your sock, so you can then officially say, I have officially robbed a bank and I'm not a failure. So we're going to say that the bank robbery was a failure. All Swedish people, they tell me it was a major success, but mainly because of the aftermath. So what is the aftermath? Long story, but I like telling it. For a start, the original guy with the beard, shooting police, armed robbery, kidnapping, and a string of other charges, he faced 6.5 years of prison. The last time anyone has heard of him is in his mid-70s. He's a used car salesman. He has 9 children with 4 separate women. One of these women he married when he was released from prison in 1980, and the guest of honour at his wedding was a hostage from this situation from 1973. So there we go. I have scientifically proven it is possible to make friends here in Stockholm. We only need 6 days, metal wire, a bank vault, and a very lenient justice system, and we got Facebook friends for life. What about the second bank robber? Do you want to have a guess what happened to you? Give me a break here. Just take a guess. Yes, you did die. That's very morbid, isn't it? There we go. So before you died though, the second bank robber went to court. The judge found the second bank robber guilty for armed robbery. Surprise, surprise, you caught robbing banks again, weren't you? But this time, his lawyers took the case to the Court of Appeals. They appealed the case on the grounds that the police actively took their client out of prison, drove him across town, put him into another bank robbery and let him be. Case was dismissed, you got to walk free. Next time someone said that person is suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, you've heard of that syndrome, now you know that syndrome would never exist. The world's stupidest, most bizarrest bank robbery ever took place what is now a fashion store and a Lebanese restaurant, so pick the bones out of that one. That is by far my favourite story of Stockholm in the 20th century. It proves how awesome Swedish people are. Very hard to get to know, but when you do get to know them, they are always there by your side, and I mean always, aren't they? They never, ever leave you alone. To prove this, there's a few kickers, and we've got time for one. August 23, 2013 marked the 40th anniversary of this unique event. The city of Stockholm thought it would be a good idea to hold a press conference down here. 4 people attended, or 4 guests attended, 3 or 4 of the hostages and the original bank robber. It was like one of these reality TV show reunion special things they seem to have once every 2 months. But halfway through a press conference, a journalist goes to one of the female hostages, is this the first time you've seen that bank robber since 1973? She said, no, we catch up 3 or 4 times a year. We're still family friends to this day. So buyer beware. It's a lifelong commitment to Swedish friendship stuff. It's actually easier to get out of marriages here than it is friendships. As I said, my favourite story of Stockholm in the 20th century. Alright, good news is that we're going to finish off in the sun. Well, not literally in the sun, but outside in the sun. I've got 2 stories left. I want to introduce you to Sweden's worst ever warrior king. We're going to go, we can go down through this way, behind this building that's nice. We'll park over here, come over this way.